It's a special edition of Dave Lapham in the Trenches, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And we've caught up with Dave Lapham following the Bengals' big win over the Denver Broncos, 15-10. Dave, your thoughts?
Well, by the score, like you say, Dave, 15-10, it was an old-fashioned slobber knocker. It was a defensive battle. There was no question about it. Both of these defensive football teams, nobody freelances. Everybody plays team defense. Everybody is where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there, doing what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to do it. It was a sight to behold. I thought both secondaries provided excellent coverage on a snap-by-snap basis, and I thought a lot of players stepped up. But, Trey Waynes had to step up and assume a big role. I thought Eli Apple played pretty darn well for him, and the offensive line, I thought, injuries there. You got Jackson Carman doing a job at the right guard position when Adeniji went out, and then, of course, over right tackle, Big Fred Johnson having to step in there and acquitting himself pretty well in a noisy environment where they really couldn't communicate all that well. They handled things. There weren't any, what I was impressed with, no pre-snap penalties, false starts, that type of thing in a noisy environment. You have to go silent count a lot. I mean, the guys had to handle quite a bit of adversity and stepped up and got the job done. I mean, it wasn't pretty in terms of the type of football game and execution maybe necessarily of it, but the outcome was beautiful.
The saying goes that offense is for show and defense wins championships. The Bengals defense stepped up when it needed to.
Yeah, it really did. And I think, every phase of it, the defensive line, Trey Henderson continues to provide, consistent pressure, relentless pressure off the edge. The interior, the defensive tackles all played, really good football. Pratt had a bunch of tackles because the defensive linemen were keeping offensive linemen off of him. Pratt was able to read and flow freely and make plays. I mean, yeah, I just think that every group, everything was in concert. I thought that the pressure was there, and that provided the opportunity for coverage in the back end. I thought coverage was there when needed to allow pressure to get home. I mean, it was, one hand washing the other. I mean, it was a total team effort on the defensive side of it for sure.
Bengals come back home. They get the Ravens, who are a fall to the Green Bay Packers. Again, Harbaugh goes for 2 at the end of the game. They fall. Bengals are now in first place.
Yeah, they're in first place due to the tiebreaker, having beaten Baltimore so handily in Baltimore. Yeah, it's going to be a quick flight. The long flight will not be anywhere near as long after winning the football game here in Denver and the Baltimore Ravens for the second week in a row, failing on that 2-point conversion. I guess maybe Harbaugh was thinking, okay, the analytics say there's a percentage involved in success, failure of the 2-point conversion. We didn't get it done last week. Odds are that we should be able to get it done this week. Not so much. They go 0 for 2. So, that's a tough thing to deal with, and they're going to have to deal with it and get ready to play the Cincinnati Bengals, because the Bengals are already talking about, we're going to put this aside, just like we put tough losses aside. We're going to put big wins aside and get ready for the next opponent. So it's going to be a very, very good week of preparation for the Bengals as they get ready for the Ravens coming to Cincinnati and Paul Brown Stadium.
Any updates on injuries? Kareem off the field after that the fumble, he took the ball away, and then also Joe Mixon at the end.
Yeah, Joe got his ankle rolled when the tackle was made. The defensive player's body rolled over Joe, and he's been fighting ankle problems not just this year, but for a couple of years. But don't know the extent of it, and haven't really heard much with respect to Kareem either at this point in time. Kind of early yet, but hopefully, if they're all hands will be on deck for the football game. The injuries won't be severe. They'll probably be limited or not able to practice much this week, but that's the case for a lot of players at this stage of the season. Once you're into the middle of December, it's hard to get a full week of practice if you've been playing as many snaps as a lot of these guys have been.
Yeah, I didn't mean to leave out Joe Bocci as well, but I wanted to talk about linebackers. Jermaine Pratt and Marcus Bailey really stepped up their games today.
They really did. They ran a nice little twist inside. Marcus Bailey involved in a little double A gap, little twist for pressure and a quarterback sack, and made plays. I mean, yeah, I think I talked to Jesse Bates after the game in the locker room, and he was mentioning how that not just the defensive backs, but everybody on the defense, and not just the starters, but everybody. They'll meet extra time on Tuesday, and they'll all sit and watch tape together. He said they'll even bring a backup quarterback into the meeting to talk concepts and talk football, and all that kind of stuff, all that extra stuff that guys are doing on their own is really starting to pay off for the football team in general this week, especially for the defense.
Talk about Joe Burrow. Not big numbers, but he manages the game.
He does, and I thought two of the plays he made when he rushed for first downs on third down, the Bengals did not convert a high percentage or a very big number on third down of their conversion opportunities, but he threw for one to Tyler Boyd that was an amazing play, and then he also ran for two, and I thought his pocket manipulation was extraordinary. And he's looking down the field trying to decipher coverage, and has to get his eyes down to the line of scrimmage in the rush when the coverage is that good, where he's thinking, I got to try to find a lane here, try to distort the rush lanes, and he did it twice and picked up big first downs, running the football. So I honestly believe, Dave, there's not really anything with respect to football that Joe Burrow doesn't understand. I mean, this guy is a football savant. He sees everything. He really does. He's an amazing player.
Dave, how excited are you to be talking? Here we are, late December, the Bengals being in first place, coming home to play the Ravens, a lot on the line. It's been a while since the Bengals have been in a game with such magnitude with their future ahead of them.
Yeah, I think this was their fifth win in the road, 5-2 as a road team, and they were all talking about how they're going to have to pick it up and play better at Paul Brown Stadium, this football team has earned it. There's been some ups and downs, roller coaster, trials and tribulations, but they put themselves in a position to qualify for the playoffs, and they've earned every bit of it. So it's exciting. It's exciting for the players, the organization, the city, the fans. It's exciting for everybody. Paul Brown Stadium should be rocking the next couple of weeks for sure.
You said all week leading up to this game, the Bengals had to win this one, needed to win probably 3 out of the 4. But then you start looking around, especially in the AFC North, and what we saw today with Baltimore, the Steelers, the Browns having to play tomorrow. There's still a lot of games that are going to be deciding to what's going to actually happen by the time we get to the new year.
If the Browns win tomorrow, they're in first place because they have the tiebreaker against the Bengals by beating the Bengals in Cincinnati the way they did. So it's unbelievable. I mean, the Bengals, they've gone from the number 1 seed to all the way out to number 5 or 6. They've gone from number 9 up to number 4. I mean, it's the entire division is separated by a game and a half on a weekly basis. Maybe not even that. The only reason it's a game and a half is because of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now it's going to be, a game probably with Pittsburgh winning the football game they won today. So it is crazy. It's on a week-to-week basis. You can climb a bunch, you can fall back a bunch, just depending on one football game. But that's life in the National Football League in the month of December. I mean, all you're trying to do, that's the reason you play the game, is to put yourself in a position where you can control your own destiny in December and January when football's real football. It's serious.
Dave, we know you're crunched for time, getting ready to get on the bus, get to the airport, fly back to Cincinnati with that big win. Final thoughts on this win?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it was a game where I think that the resolve of the football team was tested the entire football game. It was not going to be an easy football game. The Denver Broncos, their style of play, they make you earn everything. They don't give you anything. They don't make it easy. They haven't made it easy on any opponent. And defensively, with Vic Fangio, defensive-oriented head coach, he wants to play sound defense. He wants to run the football. He wants to control the clock. He doesn't want to turn it over. All the basic ABCs of football. That's what this guy's all about. And they're in every single football game. So I think the Bengals knew the type of football game they were getting into, and they went out and they executed.
He is Dave Lapham. Be sure to tune into Dave Lapham in the Trenches on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast from. Dave, safe trip back to Cincinnati.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you, man.
At First Star Logistics, we're a very strict company that really puts the pressure on our employees. Breaks? What are those?
That's what I'm talking about, Icky. You get the body right, then the mind's right,
You gotta get that
that body right.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Become a star with a chance to earn the highest commission percentages in the industry as a freight broker agent. Check out firststarlogistics.com.